Right, let's get started. What we are going to need for this project is, first, we need to get our data from somewhere. And for this, we're going to use an API to feed us the data. And then we're going to use Alamofire to help us connect to the API, and SwiftJSON to help us parsing the JSON information. So let's start from the API. If you go to your browser and go to APIKey.com, I found this website a few weeks ago, and they provide different type of APIs for your needs. But currently what we need is coronavirus statistics information. So let's search here COVID-19, and we're going to get multiple results here, and you can read about these APIs here. Just even hovering over them, they give information what exactly they are providing. What I'm going to choose is the one here. It looks like it's the most updated one. It gets updated every 15 minutes, and uptime is 100%, which is good for us. So once you click on the API, this will show you some information what it actually provides, and also how to get the data from API, which is, I find, very useful. There are different languages here you can use. In our case, we can use Swift, and this provides us an SURL session code already. You can just copy and paste. And also underneath, it provides you a view what you are actually getting from the API. And here we have different information we can get, which is the current get total values. And this shows you an example like total confirmed cases, total recovered, critical, and deaths. And also what we are interested in is this one, get all countries. So we want to get information about statistics in every country. So here, if I just click one of the samples here, I can see this is one information. So we have a country name, which is by alphabetical order, it's Afghanistan. And then it goes confirmed cases, the number, recovered, the number, critical, death, and then the coordinates of, I think this is not the capital, this is the geographical center of each country. So this is going to be useful when we are going to show the information on the map view as well. So it's pretty straightforward what information we are getting, and very easy to parse. You can see we have around 2, 6, 7, 8, 9 items there. So this is our API, and now we're going to start creating the Xcode project. In order to use Alamofire and SwiftJSON, we are going to need CocoaPods, which is helping us install the third-party libraries. If you don't have it, you can just Google how to search CocoaPods. And there is a website called cocoapods.org. Getting started. It's just a few lines in terminal, and it will install CocoaPods for you. And once you have it ready, I'm going to assume you have an Xcode. Well, if you don't, go to App Store and download from it. And once you have CocoaPods installed, just open the Xcode, go to new project. Let me just bring the view on my screen here. So we go to File, New Project. It's going to be Single View Application. Click Next. I'm going to give it a name, and I'm going to call this, let's say, Corona Stats. You can call it whatever you want. Make sure the language is selected Swift. In my case, I have selected use core data as well, but I'm not going to use in this project, but just have it ticked. It will help you later on. I'm going to give you an advice how to use the API better if you want to integrate it with core data later on. So this just saves you a few minutes, but if you don't have it ticked, you can just get the code from a new project and paste it into your existing one. So once you have created, so where I'm going to save on my desktop, and yes, I want to create a GitHub repository on my Mac. So click create and you will have your project ready here. I'm going to close the canvas for now. In general, I'm going to close the project for now. Just Command P to make sure everything is working properly. Let's also switch to the different simulator here. So once we have our project ready, I'm going to close it, and now we need to install our libraries. So I'm going to go to terminal. If you click Command space, you can search for it, and this is a window of our terminal. Now we need to navigate to our project folder. In order to navigate, currently we are in the root directory. You can say cd and type your path here, but there is an easier way. Just drag and drop your file and just hit enter, and this will navigate to your folder. If I say ls now, it will show what I have in my folder. So if I open it here, you can see what we have there. So we have 2 files. So what we need to do is to create a pod file, and make sure you have installed CocoaPods, otherwise this is not going to work. So I'm going to say pod init, and you can see by magic it will happen here, a new file. It's called pod file. If we open this, here we can tell our CocoaPods what libraries we want to install using the CocoaPods. So right after our pods and then you get your file name here, your project name, we're going to install 2 pods. So pod, and then we're going to put single brackets and make sure the pod is small letter. I'm going to use Alamo Fire, and then pod SwiftUI JSON, and this one I'm going to specify which version I want, and this is done. Alamo Fire currently is the latest version. It's version 5 point something. I'm going to stick with 5.0 version. All right, so we want Alamo Fire 5 version and SwiftUI JSON version 4, and then we just say save. I'm specifying the versions here specifically because if you are watching this in the future, there may be a newer version, and if you don't specify this part, it's going to get the latest version of each library, and then maybe some of the code has changed and you may have difficulties. So as long as you have these 2 versions specified here, you are going to use exactly the same code that I'm using right now. I'm missing one symbol here in order to specify the version, and just after save, what I'm going to say is pod install, and this is going to go ahead and install the required CocoaPods. So right now we have Alamo Fire and SwiftUI JSON installed, and now it says that from now on we're going to use a different file to open our Xcode project. This one I'm going to close. We are going to not going to need this anymore. So before we had only this blue icon here, but right now we have also a new Xcode workspace file, the white icon. From now on, we're going to use this one, and it has created another file here, pod file log. So let's open this file, and this opens our Xcode project. I'm going to open the main application area, and you can see there is a pods area as well. So if you open, here is our CocoaPods file, and then under the pods you can see the 2 files we have installed. I'm going to say Command B to build our application, and everything was successful, so there are no errors, and I can actually close the pod file. So we can now start building our application. And what I'm going to start from is actually to build our model. If I run my application on a iPhone 11 Pro right now, let me just close the canvas really quick. This will take a few seconds to load our iPhone 11 Pro. And I want to use the time to go to our API here. In order to use this API, you need to be registered. So I have just created an account. Basically, I logged in with my Facebook. And this specific API, even though it's free, you can check the pricing here. It says the first 50,000 calls per month is free, but I had to put my credit card details. It didn't charge anything because we are using the basic volume. And then if you want to actually upgrade it, you can go to like this is unlimited calls, 4.50 euros or $5 per month, or there is an ultra version which gives you extra things, and this is like $20 a month. We're going to stick with the free one. Just make sure you have some kind of card. Doesn't matter if it has money on it or no, they are not going to charge anything. Okay, so getting back to our API here, once you have registered, the reason you want to register is it's going to give you a key. Without this key here, this is called Rapid API key, your API is not going to work. The calls will return error. So once you have the key, you can use it in your code. Let's come to our project, and I mean, you can use this key if you want to, but the problem is too many students are going to watch this. If everybody starts using the same key, these 50,000 calls will be over very quickly and your application will not work. So I suggest you to create your own key and use that one. So let's go to our application here. I'm going to make the font a little bit bigger so you can see it better. And we're going to start from our API. So let's create a new file here, Command N, and it's going to be a Swift file. Click Next. I'm going to call this COVID fetch request. Click Create, and we have this empty file here. I'm going to close the side panel because we're not going to use this. And let's create a class. Call this COVID fetch request. And we're going to conform to observable object protocol. And since we want to use Alamofire and SwiftJSON, I'm going to import them. All right,